We're Be'ez Hashem learning Yerushalmi Makkos Daf. We're starting based on the bottom line. Rabbi Merchia by Kamei Reb Zeira. Rabbi Merchia asked Reb Zeira, "How you? Eidim u'meidim alav shargas nefesh belud." A pair of Eidim said Eidos that someone killed someone else in Lud. And a second group of Eidos came and said to the first group, "How can you say Eidos that person killed in Lud? You were with us on that day in Kisri." A third group of Eidos came for Amr Lahem and told the first group of Eidos, switch to Gersa to Bechamishi. You were with us in that same day in Tiperis. How can you say Eidos that person killed in Lud? So now the second and third Eidos don't align. One says you were with us in Kisri. The third one, the other one said that you were with us in Sipari. So his question was, do we say that the person that the first group of Eidos said Eidos that he killed in Lud doesn't get killed because maybe that first group of Eidos is saying false Eidos because the second group and third group are both insisting he wasn't in Lud? But do we say that Eidim ain't in Aragon, but the first group of Eidos don't get killed Shem Amr Emes? Maybe they're saying the truth because the second and third group of Eidos are not saying the same thing. One saying he was in Kisri and one was saying it's Sipari. And the Gemara was not patient to see by Halacha Dal, Zak the Mishnah. Ein Eidim Zeimim Neragan and Shigmar. Then Eidim Zeimim do not put. We do not kill Eidim Zeimim only if after the trial that they said Eidos and someone false Eidos, and that person was convicted. That only after that do we say if they became Zeimim do they get killed? Shari Tzedekим Erim Hachihari. Tzedekim say not Hachigmar. Didn't know the first person has to actually get killed. Shenemar Nefesh Tachas Nefesh. A soul for a soul. It says to your brother, which implies that he's still alive. Why does it say nefesh? Because Yachid, we would have thought we should kill a dus on Yaregu when we accept the perjurer's edus, and then they become edim, we should already kill them. They don't become. We don't kill Eidim Zeim only after the termination of the din of the trial. Zakta Gemara, Amaziri, Hado Amr, this Bryce that we're going to bring proves that Eidim ain't in Nifsal but Bezdin, Elamafts and Nifsal, they don't become Nifsal when they become Eidim Zeim and Bezdin, they become Nifsal Ma'atzme from when they themselves said the false Eidus. Pasale Basrei, and he explained that it's talking about in one case, in one Eidus. What does he explain? He explains the case of the halacha is if someone steals and an animal, a shar said, and he was tavach u'macher, you pay dal v'hei. So if you became Eidim Zeimim on a geneva and a tvich mechir, you have to pay dal v'hei. So he's bothered. How is it possible that you have to pay dal v'hei? The second you said the Eidus on geneva, that's already huatzme nifsal. Elam atzme from the second he says that first Eidus he becomes possible. So how is it ever possible to believe his second Eidus that they were tavach u'macher? So he said it's talking about that they said one long edus of he stole and was tavach u'macher. Vitani, and he brings a raya to his you say that it's me'atzmehu nifsal l'mafreya not mekan l'abal because Amar Rabbi Yosef Ahmed of our memurim b'shtei kitas edus b'shtei asoris av b'edus achas v'asra achas kol edus shabat l'miktas about l'kulei. The halacha is that if edus said edus on someone that he stole an animal, and he was tavach u'macher, and then they became zeimim only on the second part. Hu mishalem tashlumei kefil, v'heim mishalem tashlumei gimel, and they themselves pay tashlumei gimel. So Rabbi Yossi says that Stavka talking about if it was two groups, it was two kitei edus, which means it was shtei asrais. But if it would be one edus and one asra, we would say edus shabbat l'mitzase bat l'kula, and they won't have to pay anything. And the Gemara explains, what would be the case? On the 10th day of Nisan, they said that he stole Shaganav Asashar, he stole the Shar Be'echem B'Nisan, the first day of Nisan. And he shechted in Chamisha Nisan. But Hosba Be'echad, we switched to B'Chamisha Asa B'Nisan, and it became Zayman on the 15th day of Nisan. They become Pasul L'Mafreya. And the Gemara is proving from this that it must be going that Eidish and Basim Miksasi, you have to explain Rabbi Yossi in such a way, because if you're going to say that Mekano Lo Bon Hu Nifsel, it's not possible to say Eidish Abat Miksasi Bat Lakuli, because the Eidish wasn't batal at all. They just became puzzle from the Shas and nothing to do with the Eidish. So Zariah Terv Zero. Amar Barmamal Tifter B'Midin Allah B'Kracha Chaz V'Lesh Shamim Minei Klum. You're saying that the case was that the Geneva was on one day and the Tvich Mechir was on another day. Say that everything happened in one shot. So then you have no raya because it could really be Mikano Abba. husman that we say mikan laba. Just over here is different, since they're testifying that the whole case happened at the same moment. If you knocked off half that case, that they all happen in the same day, you knocked off half that case, then the other half gets knocked off. So you have no raya. But Rabbi Bar Mama says, I have a raya to my sheet of Vitani, because we learned in the Tesefta. Kain, Vitani Kain, Hayim in Arishainim V'hein Achreinim. Klape Eidos for Chazak of Shalashanim, that you could have, the Allah is you could have 3 separate groups of Eidos, one for each year. If they were the Eidos min Arishainim min Hein Achreinim, they were the same, the Eidos that were in the first, they're the same Eidos of all 3 years. Huzmu B'Rishainim, so they said Eidos, the guy lived the first year, second year, and third year. Huzmu B'Rishainim, if they were Huzim in the first year, that they said he lived there, proven Zemim, Eim Kach Klum, he has 0 Eidos. B'Shniya, if they were Huzman in the second year, Harei Ulei Eidos Achas, for year 1 would work. B'Shlishis, Harei Ulei Kishtei Eidos. On the third year, you have the Eidos of the first year. So he says that, so basically but Marmamo is proving from here, how does it work, Eidos for, how does it work, the Eidos for the first year? Obviously, we don't say Lemafreya hu batal. We don't say from the second he said his Eidos, now it's batal. We just say that Mekan Laba, it goes forward going, it's batal. So for the Gemara, V'hechi Amar b'midin olav b'kras echad v'les shama min haklum v'leyasu ela al yedei Eidos sagin. He says, what's the comparison over here by Tzvicha Mechira? It's not stam that it's in one day. It's in one day and one moment. Meaning you can't. You need the first Eidos. You need the Geneva Ugzela. You need the Geneva to have a Tzvicha, not the guy shechting his own animal. It's all one Eidos. But over here, all 3 years, each one is a separate year. So you have no raya that we say Mekan Laba. Just there's no connection between the first to the second Eidos. The first Eidos is 1 year. Next Eidos is 2. Next year Eidos is for the third year. So if you knocked off year 3, year 2, and year 1, still work. You have no raya to your shita. If anything, since they're considered like separate years, Amar B'Zira, this is a right to B'Zira. The Amar Eidzim and Nifsal Bezdin Elam Atzmi Nifsal all becomes Nifsal Ma'atzmai, and not like you were saying that it goes Mikan Ulaba. Zaktigum Halacha Hey. Zaktim Mishnah. Plishtayim Eidim Oishleisha Eidim Yumas Ames. A person gets killed through 2 or 3 Eidim. In Miskayim Eidis B'Shtayim Lama Part HaKasiv B'Shleish. The Mishnah asks if a person, if it's enough with 2 Eidim, why does the Mishnah say 3? And Lahakish Shtayim Mash Shleishim Mazim Shtayim. The same way 3 Eidis could be Mazmin incriminate 2 people, 2 perjurers. Af Shtayim Yuzmu Shleisha, 2 people could incriminate 3. How do we know the 2 could be Mazmin even 100? Talmud Lamer Eidim, plural, it says Eidim. Rav Shimon Eimer Ma Shtayim Ein Eragan Achi Yushtayim Zeimim. Af Shleisha Ein Eragan Achi Yushtayim Zeimim. The same way by 2 you need for both of them to become Mozam incriminated as perjurers. Same thing by 3, you need all 3. Menayim Nefil Meir, Talmud Lamer Eidim. Rabbi Kiva Eimer Leiba Shlishi El Lahach Allah Velasis Dine Ketz Beilu. Really you only need 2. So why are we saying 3? We're letting you know even the third one, since even though he's not needed, Afal Pikain, he gets the same halacha like the other 2. Im Kach Anish Hakosivli Tapal Over Aver Ka Over Aver. The third one's just an addition, we don't need him. And Afal Pikain, the Torah gave him the same din of an actual, the first 2 that actually were doing the necessary to kill the person. Someone that helps out for an Eisei Mitzvah would get schar like an Eisei Mitzvah. Mashnaim nimsa echad mem karva apostle, I do some betela. Afshleisha nimsa echad mem karva apostle, I do some betela. The same way by 2, that if one of them, if Zakar or apostle to the other one, if they're carver apostle, then it apostles, or carver apostle, any of them apostles. Afshleisha nimtzachad mem carver apostle. I do some betela. Apostles the whole edus. Minayna filameya. How do you know even 100? Talmud Leimer Eidim. It says Eidim. Amar b'yesim amed. Amar murim b'dinin nefashish. That's after b'dinin nefashish. B'dinin momenis miskayim Eidim b'shar. The edus work with the other ones. You just knock out the carver apostle. The rest work. Rabbi Eimer echadin momenis ve'echadin if you warn them together, you count as one. Then only the ones that were husra, those are the ones that we count. Because if not, what do 2 brothers see? If they saw someone killing this person, so they're going to be, you're going to say there can never be an edus over here, and you'll never be able to kill them. So it's dafka if they were master together. Zakt the Gemara, Yem Medin and Mamas, Val Yem Medin and Nefashis. Why do you have to say this Shayim and Shalish by Din and Mamas and Medin and Nefashis? You just say it by one. So we're going to go with the Girsa of the Maraponim. She'ilu Nemar Dine Nefashis, V'loi Nemar Dine Mamas. If we just say Din and Nefashis and not Din and Mamas, he say, I would say Din and Mamas Akalim, Shloisham Mizamnin Esashnaim. Dine Mamas, which are Kal, 3 could be Mazmin 2. Ushnayim Ein Mazmin Shalish. But 2 can't be Mazmin Shalish. The dafka by dinim nefashis, which are chamer, we don't want you to falsify edus and things, so we let even 2 be mazmin shalish. Minayim avilmei Talmud leimer edim. Ay ilu nemar dine mamanis, v'loy nemar dine nefashis. If we only say mamanis and not dine nefashis, you say dine nefashis achamurim, that you're actually going to kill somebody. Shloishim mazamnin esashtayim, v'shtayim ein mazamnin esashloishim. Dafka 3 can be mazmin 2, but 2 can't be mazmin 3. How do you know even 100? Talmud Lema Edim. Halacha Vav. Zak the Mishnah. Two people saw from one window. And one person is on the ground, warning them in the middle between these two. When some from one group can see some from the other group, then they're counted as one edus. Then they're considered 2 separate edus. If they're considered separate edus, if one of the groups were turned out to be perjurers, and the person on the ground, and they get killed, that group that turned out to be perjurers, Vashnia, but the other group are patur because they weren't counted as, they weren't put together as one group because they weren't rayin elu es elu.